So, before starting with what string is, let's understand the very crucial concept of what is mutable and what is immutable data type. Here, I've already written the pointers. We'll see them, we'll experiment, or we'll see them practically in Jupyter Notebook. First, let's go through them. So, mutable data types are those data types in which the memory location does not changes. That is the second point. When we change the value of that data type, it does not change its memory location, while in immutable the memory location changes. And here in mutable we are allowed to make the changes, but in immutable we are not allowed to make the changes, so that can throw an error. Here are some examples. We have not covered the derived section yet, but we will do that later. Right now I'm just explaining the concept of mutable and immutable, and if you don't understand how I've used these data types, it is okay, you will get to know them as we move forward with derived data types. This video is all about strings, so we'll do everything related to strings in this video. Let's go to Jupyter Notebook and see. So let's start with mutable. I'm sorry. Let's see immutable first. So herein, as we saw in this one, that immutable is all the numbers, strings and tuple. So let's just see. Here in A, I'm giving the value 123.45. Okay, I'm going to print A, and I'm going to print the ID. ID is basically the memory location in which this is stored. So here the ID I got is this one. Let me just copy the same code and enter it here, and let me just add another number, and let's just see. If you see, the memory location has changed. The last numbers, if you see, it has changed. Why did it change? Because integers, float, all of these are immutable. That means, first of all, I cannot change the value after creating it, but it has not thrown any error on changing it. Some data type throws error while some does not. It did not throw any error, but it definitely changed the ID. It was this number. Let's see the last three digits. It was 336 at the end of the first time, and it is 328 the second time. So the number changed. The ID number changed. Let's see it for mutable. So let's see mutable. Let me create a list. So let me just quickly create a list. I'll print the list, print the ID of list, and I'll also print the type so that you know it's a list. Okay, did you see the ID? It is 152 at the end. Okay, so let me just add another value to the list. Okay, so I'm using just a random function. It's append function, which we will cover later. You do not have to worry about not understanding the syntax. I'm printing the list again, and I'm printing its ID. So let's see. See, it is still the same because we appended a value in the already existing list. So that's how we can do that. The ID will stay the same, and we can make as many changes as we want. Okay, so I guess this concept is clear, that what is mutable and what is not mutable, what is immutable. Okay, we will get to know more about the different data types like the list, dictionary, set, all that in the coming videos. Right now, all we need to understand is the difference between mutable and immutable, which is that we can change the value of mutable without having to change its ID, and in immutable, we cannot change the value without changing its memory location. So, I hope that is clear. Okay, so let's see another very, very important concept. So, you know, when we start the Python program, some objects are already initialized in the memory. That means without even having declared those value in the variable, they already have a memory address. So what are these objects? So this is integers from -5 to 256. If you take any integer, it has already been occupied. It has a preoccupied location on startup. When you start the Python program, they get memory location. ASCII characters. So ASCII is basically an encoding system. So in that they have some characters like all the alphabets and some special characters. So they also have predefined memory location. The booleans true and false and none objects. Let's see it practically. Okay. So let's take a variable a and give it a value like 101 because it is between the range of this integer, the first category. And let's take a variable b and give it the same value. I'll print a, I'll print b, I'll print so now I'm going to print the ID of A and ID of B. Now we're going to see that they have same memory location even though integers are immutable. Why so? Because Python already initialized the memory location for some objects that are reused like very frequently. So this is one example. Let's take another one. We have taken the integers, so let's just see for let's see for this one. And it gave the same. Why did it work? Because see, ASCII characters has numbers also. I did not add it, but it has 0 to 9. So that is why. And I put it in quotes, so it is a string. So it has the same memory ID, even though variable is different. Let's see it for true and false also. And none also. So that we know that it works for, everything. I've given it true. And I've given this one also true, and see, they have same memory ID because it was already pre-assigned to it while starting up. Let me give it none. Let me give this one also none. Same ID. Because they belong to this category, that is why it is called, it has the same memory ID, okay? There is one more concept that is called string interning. So what this means we'll just see in a bit. Understanding these concepts practically is the best, So let's see. I have written A is equal to hello. Oh, I added a G, so I'll remove it. I'll copy the same and I'll give it to another variable. Now let's just copy this and paste it and run the code. You see, it has exactly same ID. Why so? See, I'll keep on adding hello 23. Let's see if it still has the same ID. See, still same ID. The ID changed because strings are immutable, so the immutables tend to change their ID on changing their value. So that we did before. That is why the ID changed. But did you see why this happened? This did not mention of any words that can be, that have a preoccupied memory. It is because, there's a string pool. So like what happens in the string pool is, so first I added an H, then I added an E. So it remembers what all characters I add. As long as they're ASCII characters and they follow identifier rules, that means it does not have any spaces or start with numbers and all that rules that we're going to cover later. So if it does not, if it follows all the identifier rules, it is going to have the same ID. Okay, so it keeps on adding those numbers, and it sees that if any new variable that it creates has the same order and the characters as the string pool, it assigns the same memory ID. It does not create a new memory space. It uses the already existing space. I'll show you one more example where we see that after this, after I add a space, it is going to have different IDs, because in identifier rules it says that we are not allowed to use spaces. So you see, as soon as I add the spaces, the ID changed. It is because I did not follow the identifier rules. That is the whole sole reason. Okay, so now let's move on to string methods. So I have written down the basic crux of 8 string methods that are very, very important, and we'll see them in detail. I've written just the basic overview of the function. We will see what the function does line by line. So let's start with the count function. So what does a count function do is it calculates or counts the frequency of how many times a character has occurred in a string. So let's take a string hello world. Okay, and let me just see the count of it. Okay, so I'm using the function. So I've taken the object name, the variable name. Now let's see what we have to find. So let's find L, and we're not giving start and stop. If we don't give start and stop, by default it is the entire sentence. So I did not print it, so let's just print a count and see. There are 4. Okay, let's just change this so for start and stop we have to know that the counting here starts from 0. So H is at 0 position, E is at 1, L is at 3. So this is how it starts. So let us start it with 0 and let us end it on 3, 3, 6, and let's end it on 7. Now let's see it's changed because 7 is until here and the 4th L is here, so it did not go there. Okay, so now let's just see if it shows if we have any D or not. It says we have 0 D. Because why did it say that? Because the start and stop is this. Okay, so let's just see. It gives me 1 because I have given only the start. So it knows where to start, but it does not know where to end. So it will go on to each character of the string and keep the count. So is that clear? That what count is? It basically calculates the frequency of occurrence of any character that you pass, and the frame in which you wanted to search, the index frame. Okay, so that is count. Let's see it for index. So what is index? So you know the positions, like H is at 0 index, E is at 1 index, L is at 2 index, L is at 3, L is at 4, O is at 5. That is index. That specifies that at what position it is. So it returns the position. Index is also called the position in the string, you know. So let us see. I'm not going to change the variable name because, you know, there's no point. So we'll search D and let's just see. Oh, I did not change the function, so I need to change the function. So it is at index number 11. Let's take an easy one. So let's see if we do L, what it returns. It returned us 2, whereas we have 3, 4L. So that means it will return only the first occurrence. Okay, so if I change the start to, let's say 5, it gives us 10. Why? Because it is here at before D. So, and I changed where to start searching from. So it is starting to search from here after O. So it is starting here. So if we start from here, the only L we find is at position number 10. So that is what index does. Okay, so that is the role of index. Index and find are absolutely same. The only difference between the both of them is one throws an error if not found. Okay, so let's figure out which one is it that throws an error. Okay. So let's try it in index. Let's search for a Z. See, it threw an error because it does not have that. So whereas if I do the same thing, the same code, everything is same, but I have used a find here, find function. So here it shows -1, which means it is not present. So here it is going to throw error if the character or you have asked to search it is not present in index. But if you do the same thing in find, it is not going to throw any error. It is going to return -1, which means it is not present. Okay, that is clear. If you have any doubts regarding anything, you can comment it down and I'll let you know. Let's go to R find and R index. So R find and R index are like find and index. The only difference is the search starts from right to left. Right now what we did was we started from here and we went there. This time it is going to start from here and return there. Okay, so let's go to R find and search for L. See, it gave me 10. So it started from here. It also returns the first occurrence only, but if we see it from right to left, it gave me the first occurrence is at this point, which is 10. So it gave me that. Let's do the same for our index. Okay, and let's find the letter W. And it returned me 7. Which is a little strange. Oh, that is because I started at 5. So let's just not enter these variables and see. So it is at 7. Oh, it is at 7. 1, 2, 3. Actually 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So it is correct. So now let's just give it, start and stop. So you're going to supposed to start at 0 and you're going to continue till 4. So The difference I showed before in find and in index, same goes for R find and R index. Because it is not found in this range, it throws an error. Let's just widen our search. Oh, we did not get it even now. So see, now we got it. This start and stop, it works this way only, but the search, it works this way. Okay, so let me just write it. Searching right to left, but start and stop left to right. Okay, so that is our find and our index. Same, exactly same as find and index, except the direction is different. It is right to left. Okay, let's move on to next, which is replace. So what replace does is it changes the character that is already present to a new character or a new set of characters, So let's take this and paste it. Okay, and let's change this replace. Okay, so we'll replace L with asterisk, and how many times, let's not mention this, how many times we want to replace, and we'll see how many times it replaces on itself. It replaces for everything, because by default it is -1, which means it is going to continue for the whole string. Now let's just say I want that to change only once. So see, only one. Okay, that is how replace works. It changed only first occurrence, one time. If I do it 2, see, it gave me 2. If I do 3, it is going to give me 3. That is how it works, in that sequence only, from left to right. Whichever comes first, it is going to replace it. Okay, so we won't give anything, so here it is replace. Next is strip. So let's see, let's copy the code. We'll use the same code, Control C, Control V, and strip. And we're not going to pass any parameter right now. To understand it clearly, it removes white spaces from the sides. So we don't have any white spaces. And to understand it even more, let me just print it before, right? So I'm giving some white spaces. Okay, now let's see. So you see here we have white spaces. It prints the white spaces that are already given. Okay, but if I use the strip, it removes the white spaces. So here there were white spaces, but using this function we do not have any white spaces. Now let's suppose that I have asterisk on both the sides. So if I ask it to, before passing the parameter, let's see what it does. It won't change anything. See, because by default it only removes the white spaces. But now if I pass asterisk, see, it won't change the space because we did not ask it to, but it will change, it will remove the asterisk. Okay, that is clear, right? Let's see what it does if I add space also. See, it removed asterisk and spaces, both. Okay, both the asterisks and both the spaces it removed. So we can add multiple characters also together, but this is the major role, to to remove something from the end, both the end. And if we want to do it for a specific part, like for left or right, just add L or R for whatever initial you want. For left you use L, for right you use R. So use that, and it is going to remove from left side only. L means left side only, R means right side only. That is how it works. Okay, very easy function. Let's see split. So what split does is it breaks down the string to different items of list. So it converts the string to list and remove the spaces. Based on the spaces, it divides it into list. We can change the separator, but by default it is space. So let's take this. Let's copy this code, paste it here, and we'll use split. Okay, we are not going to pass any parameter. Let's see what it does. It beautifully made a list of 2 words. How were they separated? By default, space. Okay, now let's specify a space. Okay, so you're going to change every time you find an asterisk. Okay, it has 2 parameters. If you see, I added some asterisk randomly. It has 2 parameters, separator and max split. Max split means that how many times you want the string to be broken. By default it is -1, which means it will go on until the string ends. Okay, so by default we're working with by default right now. After understanding the separator, we're going to move to the max split. See, it separated on the basis of asterisk. So H is a different item in a list, L is another item, oval is another, and LG is another. So that is how it's separated, on basis of asterisk. Now let's add max split as 1. So what it will do is it will keep the H and the rest is another. So 2, only 2 items. See, this is item number 1, this is item number 2, because I asked it to split only once. If I do not mention anything, it is going to go until the string ends. Let's say we wanted to do it twice. See, twice. Understood? It is very, very easy. Next is join. So what it does is it takes the input iterable string. Iterable means that we can iterate over. Okay, so it takes string, input iterable string, or maybe tuple. See, whatever we enter in this as parameter, it can be a tuple, it can be a string, it can be a list, which we do not know as of now, but we're going to know in the coming future. But we have to remember that we can enter list, tuple, or string, anything we like, but those should contain string items only, no integers in anything, because as we saw in the features, these are strongly typed, so it won't typecast automatically. Okay, so it joins all the items together, and these are joined using this character. Okay, let me show you how it is done, then you will understand it even more clearly. Okay, so let's make a list of name. So name 1 is Peter, Sam, and let's take Anna. Okay, now what we'll do is let's take a variable b is equal to, now what we will do is we will take, let's see, we want to divide it using hash. Okay, then we're going to write the function join, and we're going to pass this list. Okay, so this list we are passing, and it has only strings. See, we have the quotes, so it is going to work. Now see the output. We get the name, we get the item number 1 and hash, item number 2 and hash, item number 3 and hash. So between 2 items we're going to have whatever character we enter here. Okay, see, let's just say I want to say is American. Okay, see, I'll just add another space. So now see, what did it do? It took the first item in the list and added this with the spaces and everything exactly as it is. It added it, took another one and added this, but it did not add it with the third one because there was no other item left on the list. So the last item won't have this, but rest every item would have it. That is the work of join. So we've done 8 functions of string data type. We will keep on, there are many functions, Python is huge, very huge. So we will keep on doing whatever functions we need while we're learning. But right now, these are important, and even if you don't understand anything, it is okay. As we proceed forward, we're going to understand it even more clearly because we are going to put it in practice. So do not worry. It is all very easy once you get the hold of it. Okay, so it is easy. Okay, so this is the end of this video. I hope you understood. Thank you for watching. See you soon.